Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Chill English channel. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Jake. Before we get started, let me say this quickly. Please, please, please hit the like button and subscribe. Yes, I know every YouTuber says that, but it really does help us. And it makes sure you don't miss our new lessons.
Exactly. Every week, we bring you simple, useful English tips. And today's topic is one that almost every learner struggles with: how to speak without pausing too much.
Oh, this one's classic. You know the feeling. You're in the middle of a conversation. You want to sound confident, but suddenly you freeze. Your brain feels empty.
Yes, your mouth is ready to move, but the words just don't come. You end up sitting there with a long,
And that pause feels like forever. In reality, it might only be 2 or 3 seconds, but it feels like 10.
Exactly. And then you start to panic, which only makes it worse.
Now, here's the truth. Pausing is normal. Native speakers pause all the time. The difference is that their pauses are usually short and natural, not long and broken.
Yes, a short pause can even make your English sound better because it gives you time to breathe and helps the listener understand. But when the pause is too long or too frequent, that's when it feels unnatural.
So the real question is, why do learners pause more than native speakers?
There are 3 big reasons. The first is translating in your head.
Oh, that's huge. Many learners first think of the sentence in their own language, then try to turn it into English word by word.
For example, in some languages, you might say, "Yesterday to the market I went." But in English, it's, "I went to the market yesterday."
And while your brain is busy moving words around, your mouth stops talking.
And by the time you finish translating, the conversation has already moved on.
The second reason is vocabulary. You know what you want to say, but you can't remember the exact word.
Like when you want to say microwave, but you forget. You just sit there saying,
Instead of freezing, use simpler words. Say, the machine that heats food quickly. People will understand you, and you keep talking.
Exactly. Silence stops the conversation, but simple words keep it flowing.
And the third reason is fear of mistakes. Many learners pause because they're worried about grammar or pronunciation.
They think, is it he go or he goes? And while they think, they stop speaking.
But here's the thing. Even native speakers make mistakes. They correct themselves in real time. They might say, he goes to work. That's completely normal.
The goal isn't perfect grammar. The goal is communication. If the other person understands you, then you're doing great.
Exactly. When you stop worrying about perfection, you pause less, and your words flow more easily.
Now, let's be clear. Not all pauses are bad. Short pauses make your English sound more natural.
Right. If I say, I really enjoy spending time with my family, that pause feels natural.
But if I say, I really enjoy spending time with my family, that sounds broken and unsure.
Yes, and it makes the listener nervous, too.
So remember this. Short pauses are fine, but long, repeated pauses are the real problem.
And usually they come from translating, searching for words, or fearing mistakes.
Once you understand these 3 reasons, you can start to fix them.
And when you do, speaking becomes smoother, more confident, and more natural.
Exactly. And the best part? It feels amazing when you noticed yourself pausing less.
That's when you realize, wow, I'm actually speaking like a real English speaker.
And that feeling gives you the motivation to keep going.
Step by step, less pausing, more talking, and more confidence.
So, we've already talked about the reasons people pause too much when they speak. Now, it's time to look at some practical tools that can really help you sound smoother and more confident.
Yes, and the good news is these tools are simple, and you can practice them every single day. If you do, your English will slowly start to feel more natural, and those long, awkward pauses will happen less often.
The first tool is to think in English instead of translating from your language. Translation is one of the biggest causes of pausing.
Right. If you always build the sentence in your head in your own language and then try to change it word by word into English, your brain slows down. That's why you stop in the middle of a sentence.
To fix this, start small. When you wake up, say in English, "I need to brush my teeth." When you're cooking, say, "I'm cutting vegetables." These are simple thoughts, but they teach your brain to create sentences directly in English.
Over time, this habit makes a huge difference. You won't even notice yourself translating anymore, and your words will come out faster with fewer pauses.
The second tool is to use fillers. A filler is a small word or phrase that gives you time to think without going silent.
Native speakers do this all the time. They say, well, I'm not sure, or, I think it's okay. These fillers sound natural and keep the conversation alive.
For learners, they're very useful because instead of sitting in silence, you can use a filler while your brain is finding the next word.
The third tool is paraphrasing. If you don't know the exact word, just explain it in another way.
For example, if you forget the word microwave, you can say, "the machine that heats food quickly." People will still understand, and you won't need to stop talking.
And here's the funny thing. Native speakers also do this when they forget a word. They say things like, "What's it called? The thing you use to change the TV channel?"
Yes, exactly. So if you describe instead of stopping, you're speaking just like natives do.
Another very effective tool is shadowing. This means listening to a native speaker and repeating right after them, almost like an echo.
You can try this with podcasts, YouTube videos, or even movie scenes. The goal is not just repeating the words, but copying the rhythm, the tone, and the short pauses.
At first, it feels fast, but if you practice regularly, your mouth and brain get used to speaking more smoothly.
The next tool is storytelling. When you tell even a simple story about your day, you train yourself to keep talking without stopping.
For example, you can say, "Yesterday I woke up late. I had breakfast. Then I went to work. And later I met my friend." Keep it flowing. Don't worry about perfection.
The important part is to continue speaking. If you get stuck, use a filler or explain things simply, but don't freeze.
And here's one more tip. Record yourself speaking. It may feel strange at first, but when you listen back, you can hear where you pause too much.
Maybe you'll notice that you pause after every few words, or that you always stop when searching for verbs. Once you notice, you can start improving those exact spots.
Yes, it's like watching yourself in the mirror. It can be uncomfortable in the beginning,
but it's one of the fastest ways to get better.
So let's quickly review. Think in English, use fillers, paraphrase, practice shadowing, tell short stories, and record yourself.
Each of these tools reduces long pauses and helps you feel more confident when speaking.
And the more you practice them, the less you'll pause, and the more natural your English will sound.
It's all about building habits. Once you get used to these techniques, your speaking will flow more easily.
And that's when conversations start to feel enjoyable instead of stressful.
Exactly. That's the moment when English begins to feel like a part of you, not something you're always fighting with.
So, we've looked at why people pause too much, and we've shared some practical tools to help reduce those pauses. Now it's time to talk about something even bigger: confidence.
Yes, because at the end of the day, speaking English without long pauses isn't only about knowing techniques, it's also about how you feel when you're speaking.
Exactly. If you feel nervous, shy, or afraid of making mistakes, your brain slows down and the pauses return. But if you feel calm and confident, your English flows much more easily.
And here's the secret. Confidence is not something you are born with. It's something you build through practice and experience.
The more you speak, even with small mistakes, the more you realize that people still understand you, and that gives you courage to keep going.
That's why it's so important to practice often, even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes every day. Small steps build big results.
Another important thing is to change the way you think about mistakes. Many learners believe mistakes are bad, but in reality, mistakes are proof that you're learning.
Yes, and often mistakes are not as big as you imagine. If you say, he go to work, instead of he goes to work, the other person still understands. The world doesn't stop.
Right. And sometimes the other person doesn't even notice. Native speakers care more about your message than your grammar.
So try to focus on communication first and accuracy second. This way you keep talking and you don't freeze when you're unsure.
And remember, pausing a little is not bad. Short pauses can even make your English sound thoughtful and clear.
The real goal is not to remove pauses completely, but to make them short and natural instead of long and uncomfortable.
One way to practice this is to join conversations, even if you only add a small comment. Every time you say something, you build confidence.
Yes, and if you don't have many people to talk to, you can practice online with speaking partners, or even practice alone by reading out loud or telling a story to yourself.
The key is to keep your words moving. Even if they are simple, keep the conversation alive. That's how you train your fluency.
And don't forget to celebrate your progress. Notice when you speak a little faster, when you use a filler naturally, or when you describe a word instead of stopping. These small wins are very important because they show you that your effort is working.
Exactly. Learning English is a journey, and every step forward matters.
So here's our final message. Don't be afraid of pausing, but don't let pauses control you. Use the tools we shared, build your confidence, and trust yourself.
And with time, you'll notice that your English flows more smoothly, your sentences come out faster, and speaking feels much easier.
And remember, fluency doesn't mean perfection. It means being able to express yourself without getting stuck.
That's the real goal. And it's absolutely possible if you keep practicing a little bit every day. So keep going, stay positive, and enjoy the process of becoming more fluent.
And before we finish, let us say once more, please, please, please like this video and subscribe to the Chill English channel.
Yes, your support helps us keep creating more lessons to guide you on your English journey.
Thanks for being with us today. And remember, less pausing, more speaking, and more confidence.
See you next time.